I've made a mistake here. This was supposed to be a black line in front, and instead it's got the purple. So to fix it, I'm going to grab my black. You can see I put a stitch marker because I also want to fix the back. Sometimes I won't fix the back because I just don't care about it enough. But this design is supposed to look good on both sides, so I want to fix the back. So this is where the double crochet should have been in front. And this is the chain space right before it. So that's where I'm going to pick up my yarn. Leave the tail long enough because you're going to weave it in a whole bunch. So I'm going to pretend that that was the chain space. Yarn over because I'm going to do a double crochet. And I'm going to drop down. You can see this is the top of that spot. And I wanted to, the double crochet is here. You could try and go through the double crochet. I just go off to the side. So we're going to go through the top two as if there was no other double crochet there. And we're going to do a double crochet. Of course, because this loop is not attached, it's very loose. You know, I can pull it right out, so be careful. And then that chain space here, again, I'm just going to go through it and pull the loop all the way through. Then I cut my yarn. This really works best with one stitch as a mistake. It is possible to keep going if you've got a couple stitches that you need to fix, but I just have the one, and now I have these tails. And one of the tricks that I like to do with the tails is I basically flatten this stitch onto what it's supposed to be here, because you can see it kind of sticks out. So besides weaving in the tail, I am also using this to kind of sew the top of that double crochet down so that it is more smooth. It lines up with the other stuff that we've already done. And I do not knot this. I just weave it in a whole bunch of times. I go through back and forth, the fibers back. Oh, come on. It's very tight sometimes. And I typically don't cut very much. So this is enough that I will just keep weaving. And sometimes I even have to stick my needle in and then stick the yarn through the needle because it's too short, but I don't like wasting that yarn because it can hold my project down. I might as well use it. That's my thoughts. Now, I make it look easy, right? Anyways, you have to do both tails because, of course, they're both loose and they need to be woven in. And this is nice and smooth. I actually had the same mistake over here, and you can't even tell now. So that is how handy I find this, and it was really quick. When I figured out that I had made this mistake, I was way up here, so there's no way I was pulling apart like 2 hours of crochet for this. Literally, how 3 minutes. It's been 3-minute video, 3-minute fix. So that's what I do. And then I would just weave these tails in. If I'm going to fix it on the other side, I will do the same thing, but using the purple, because now this is covered up the way it's supposed to be. And on this side, should have been a purple across here. And it would be a chain. So all I do, actually I'll show you. So on the other side, it's not a double crochet that's missing, it's a chain. This was the double crochet, and it should have been a chain across. So I will of course use purple because that's the one that's supposed to be visible. And I find this one actually easier. So this is the top of that double crochet. This would be the 2 loops that we're going through. And I'm going to pull it up here, leave a long tail for sewing. And I'm going to chain 1, which is really going to be like my knot, okay? He's going to be really tight on there. And then I'm going to chain 1 again, and that's what's going to cover this stitch, because that's what we have, double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain. So this chain, I'm going to try and keep the tension so that it just covers the stitch. And then I have to find the top of that double crochet that would have been next. And I'm going to pull it through and also cut it. Oh, that was a bit short. Usually I leave a longer tail. Anyways, now I have to weave in these little tails. And sort of like I had done with the double crochet, I want to make sure that my weaving is keeping this secure, but also when I get to this part here, I want to make sure that it's flattening it down and keeping it really attached to where it's supposed to be attached. So this tail is much longer. I'm going to use this tail. I'm going to come down here. So this is the one that's, the chain is covering it. This is the one that needs to be stuck here. So I'm just going to go through it. And I'm going to go through it again. And that's pretty much it. So what, that's less than 2 minutes to fix a mistake. Not so bad. The weaving is annoying, but I really find that it's worth it to leave that long tail. Oh, here's the thing. So my yarn popped out, but I'm just going to stick it back in. It's a really short tail, but I want to use it anyways. So it's a little bit to cut, and this one will have to weave as well. So you can see that the chain is across like it's supposed to be. And that's how it's supposed to look. I'm just gonna do the other side too here. The video is technically done, but looking at my recording here, it still keeps going, so we might as well watch it. And you get to see me make a little mistake. It's coming up already. Put my yarn on the hook and I just pull it through, and I was like, oh wait, that's not quite right, so I just did it again. But yeah, that is basically how I fix my mistakes, and I think it's important to know how to fix your mistakes. That's what sets you apart. It's not that people with better crochet skills don't make mistakes, it's that we know how to fix them, and those fixes hopefully do not involve pulling apart 3 hours of crocheting. That is the worst. So that's it for me. Thanks guys. I'd love it if you hit that like button, subscribe button, check all of my other videos out. And I'll weave these tails in too. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.